I told y'all. I told y'all, man. I told y'all that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving were really, really close homeboys. And the disrespect that the Brooklyn Nets was giving Kyrie Irving went too far, right? They didn't have his back from the beginning of the whole last year with dealing with the vax. Um, they didn't seem like they wanted him. You know, it seemed like they listened too much to the media all year long. And the reason why I say that is because most of the things I heard in the media were things that they used as leverage during the negotiation period this summer with Kyrie Irving. So either there was influence, even the front office, Sean Marks, maybe even the owner Joe Tsai, either what they were saying in the media about Kyrie Irving influenced them in their decision, or what they were saying in the media, uh, they felt like, well, we can use that against him to get him on the cheap or to get a contract that favors us more, or they was leaking that information to the media and they were just repeating what they was hearing from the front office. But in any event, the media came out here lying to everybody saying Kyrie Irving didn't have any leverage, you know, saying that he didn't have no choice. They also even lied and said that no teams wanted them, and they made a mistake and slipped up today and mentioned something about Philadelphia offering him a contract, right? And you don't need all 30 teams to want you. You just need one or two teams. You need one team actually to want you, and definitely the Lakers wanted him. Definitely the Lakers would have traded him straight up for Westbrook, right? So they've been lying all the way around. They've been lying about Kyrie Irving the whole while, and that's okay. If the media is got a certain dislike for a player, it's okay for them to go out there and just, you know, repeat talking points that don't really make sense. You know, they get their clicks. You know, it's even okay for someone like, well, it's not really okay, but Stephen A. Smith having a personal vendetta against Kyrie Irving for some reason. Okay, that's cool. But when the team that you go out there and play for uh, has that same type of attitude towards you, and then you extend that to during a negotiation, you leak out to the media, we're willing to lose Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, so we won't have to go through what we went through last year. And if I'm Kevin Durant, I'm one of the best players in the league, probably the best player in the league. You have me on your squad. I'm locked in for 4 years. I played every game I could have played, except for me getting ran into my shin bone and hurting my leg last year. I missed like what 27 games, 29 games, right? But other than that, what I've given you everything, blood, sweat, and tears. I came back off of Achilles injury the same season, balled out. I think made first team All NBA, and hit a game winning shot to send the team to end up winning the championship home. Except his foot was on the line, and it was a 2-pointer. They went into overtime. He had no gas left, right? So for you to come out and, okay, I let it pass that you treated my friend like crap last year, but you know that's between y'all. He didn't want to get the vax. Okay, that's cool. I'm not gonna hold that against him. We're just gonna do what we do. I get that. Treat your friend like crap, and then you're gonna come and extend that to me if I'm Kevin Durant and say that I'm willing to let you walk. These players want to feel like the team they're playing for and going out there and grinding for, you know, mutually feels like they want them there. Like if I'm going to tell everyone I want to be here, and he did that by saying, first of all, I'm coming here. Second of all, I'm gonna lock myself up for 4 years. He didn't even give himself a player option at the end of his contract. So he was completely committed to the Nets. And for you to say, when we'll let him walk, we don't care. We'll let him walk. You can't do that as a front office, and think you're not going to alienate out your player. I want you to think about every team across the league, no matter what situation they're in, didn't make the playoffs, like the Lakers. Didn't get out of the first round, like let's say, was it Denver? Did Denver lose the Warriors in the first round, or they lost to the Warriors in the second round? Whatever the team may be, can you think of any of the owners and the GMs coming out publicly and saying, I'm willing to let them walk. You just seen the Grizzlies give Ja Morant the bag, 193 million. We just seen Jokic get 250 something mil, right? We just seen, even James Harden, right? Even James Harden didn't play all that well in the playoffs. Play like trash in the playoffs, right? He was eligible for the max, and he could have opted in into a $47 million deal, right? He played like trash. Did you see anybody from the Nets organization the Sixers organization come out and say, we willing to let Harden walk? Like, as a human being, you have to know if you say something like that, it's not going to go well, right? So you take all that into account, and people really think that Kevin Durant is just supposed to be like, okay, let's go hoop. Nah, man, like, this is the same dude that went to the Warriors and walked away after winning 2 straight championships, almost winning a third if he didn't get hurt. And he still had in the back of his head the first championship they won, their front office didn't even appreciate him. They get drunk at the team parade when they celebrating, and Bob Myers grabs the microphone and tries to say a joke, but we know, people say things in jest or in a joking manner, but they really mean what they're saying, right? Otherwise, that joke wouldn't even popped in your head, right? He had the nerve to say, Kevin Durant, yeah, nah, you not. Steph is one of the original. He's a real, pretty much saying he's a real warrior. You're not, right? And people tried to laugh it off, but that was a huge mistake, right? Then you fast forward, and then Draymond Green in his final year in Golden State, the famous blow up they had, and then he says, "We won without you," right? So if you keep hearing stuff like that, you're not even appreciating what I just came over here and did for y'all. Kevin Durant came out there to Golden State at a time where they realized they couldn't get past the Cleveland Cavaliers as long as they was healthy. LeBron James was just too much, and then had Kyrie as a sidekick and Kevin Love, and it was just too much. And Ty Lue as a coach, and they was playing great defense, and they figured out the Warriors. So the Warriors championship, I wouldn't say the championship run was over, but as far as them getting past Cleveland, that jump was almost done. They didn't have that X factor over the Cavs, as they had when they got Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant came and ended all that. You get what I'm saying? Kevin Durant came and ended all of that, right? So, but I say all that to say this. He got over there and was in a good situation and could have just kept winning championships, maybe, because if he would have stayed, the team would have looked different, because it got to a point where it was time for everybody to get paid. And everybody knew that was going to pay Steph. But if you don't remember, as soon as Kevin Durant made his decision to leave, that's when Klay Thompson and Draymond got their contract, right? So the Warriors and Bob Myers was actually waiting on a decision from Kevin Durant to figure out what they was going to do with the rest of the players on the roster. Sean Livingston retired. Iguodala left in free agency. David West retired. All those things happened. So had Kevin Durant stayed, what more than likely was going to happen was that they was going to pay Kevin Durant and Steph whatever they wanted. Klay Thompson was going to get less than what he got. He was going to get less than that. And then Draymond was going to get way less than that, or he was going to have to pack his bags and go somewhere else. Right. So Kevin Durant leaving that Warriors team, the squad would have got kind of overhauled, but nonetheless, he left. And part of the reason why he was leaving had to do with how they appreciated him or the lack of appreciation. Fast forward to the Brooklyn Nets. They didn't have no issues at all, but they were treating his friend Kyrie Irving a little bit, I don't know, less than stellar. And then Kevin Durant, he was cool. He was still cool. Like, all right, man, as long as long as we, do what we came over here to do, as long as you lock him up, I mean, you can do your negotiation and do whatever you got to do. We can get over there. I stay out of the way. But I'm really thinking that he thought that eventually they was going to come to their senses and get Kyrie that max contract, and then they was going to keep the ball rolling, and that would have been a great story for everyone. They both negotiated hard. They both did their thing, but they was able to come to the table, get a deal done, and we can move on in this marriage. Great, no harm, no foul. Yeah, I know you hadn't to kind of use your leverage, and I know you had to use the media to put a smear campaign out there on me, but as long as we agree that I'm gonna get this long-term deal, that shows me that you're committed to me, and I'm gonna commit to you. You get what I'm saying? But they didn't want that. What they wanted to do is humble Kyrie Irving in public and give him not a max deal and not a long-term deal, and make him pretty much play on a prove-it year, right? And who knows what happens in that prove-it year? What if he gets hurt and misses 25 games, right? What does that do? Does that mean Brooklyn's going to say, man, you keep getting hurt, we go trade you before the halftime, before the trade deadline, before All-Star break, right? Or what if Kevin Durant gets hurt and they get put out in the first round again? But now what are you gonna do? You go tell me we got to do this negotiation again next summer? Like, so what was the plan to play hardball with Kyrie and say we're not giving you a long-term deal? Right? It can't be because you thought COVID was gonna be a factor again next season. Right? It can't be because of COVID. So, like, what was the motivation of saying we're not gonna give you a long-term deal? It just don't make no sense. So Kevin Durant stayed out of it, probably because he thought eventually the deal would get done. And then when he saw the deal didn't get done, this is what I think happened. And this is when I think LeBron James came into play, right? When Kyrie Irving was talking about the Lakers, I don't even know if Kyrie was talking about it, but when all the noise was coming out that the Lakers was interested in Kyrie Irving, hey, rightfully so, because look, we got a guy that we don't want in Westbrook that's on our books for $47 million next year. We don't want him at all, right? But we still had to wait to June 29th for him to opt in or opt out of his contract. We were trying to figure that out, right? So that was thinking about trade deals they can do for Kyrie. It seemed like they were serious about it. It seemed like Kyrie was serious about it. Maybe he was just using it as a ploy. Maybe he was bluffing, try to get his long-term deal. Maybe he wasn't. We don't know. But LeBron James being such a master at this whole game, and I'm not even talking about off the court. I mean, on the court. I'm talking about off the court. LeBron James is such a master at this, right? He manipulates this whole, I mean, he's like a puppeteer, man. I got to give this man credit for being one of the smartest dudes in this league, man. This dude will find a way to get his way. And when they start talking and talking to LeBron James, and mind you, Kevin Love got married in were they in LA or New York when Kevin Love got married in New York? I seen a picture with the whole Cavs team there from the championship. I didn't see Kyrie in that picture, but I think Kyrie was in New York, right? But even if he wasn't in New York, I know he called and talked to LeBron. LeBron probably told him, this to play. This is what we gonna do. Probably got on the phone with Rich Paul, all them boys, and said, this is the play. Right now, they're waiting on you to opt in, right? They told you can go and seek a trade partner. So pretty much what they're saying is, we're not going to give you the max, right? But if you can find a team out there that's willing to trade for you, we'll do a sign and trade, give you the max just so we can trade you to another squad. Go find a trade partner. So what ended up happening is the way the media reported it, nobody wanted Kyrie Irving as a they didn't want to put a package together for Kyrie Irving. Supposedly they didn't want him, right? And the media kept saying that. So pretty much what the Nets did was, we call your bluff. Go out there and go find a partner, because they probably knew nobody was go get Kyrie Irving. Maybe not. So what they did was lower Kyrie's Irving's trade, lower his value around the league. Period. With the help of Stephen A. Smith and the media, continuously to talk about how bad of a guy this he is. So it looked like no one, hey, look, man, it's too much fuss. Nobody wanted. Nobody. I don't want Kyrie Irving, which I don't think was true, because we know the Lakers wanted him. Then we found out today, when Stephen A. Smith slipped up, that Philly wanted him, right? Ty Lue said he wanted him with the Clippers. But this is the thing. No one's dumb. They know Kyrie still is pretty much a free agent if he opt out. They know that. But they were saying, well, he don't have no leverage because he opt out. No one has the trade, or no one has the cap space to pick him up and pay him nowhere near what he would have got with Brooklyn if he opted in, which was $37 million. Nobody had that cap space, especially not the teams he wanted to go to. Some of the teams that wasn't that good had cap space, like I want to say the Kings, the Knicks, Detroit, maybe. So the bad teams had cap space, but the good teams didn't have the cap space. But they, when you trade, they allow you to go over the cap. If the player already coming in with a contract, you can go over the cap, but you can't sign someone as a free agent that's going to put you over the cap, or if you're already over the cap. So the only thing the Lakers could have paid him was $6 million. So LeBron James, this is the genius of LeBron James. This is what I think he did. He said, Kyrie, look, this is how we get him. Opt in. That way you already on the books for your $37 million, right? Then KD will request a trade, right? So once you opt in, you on the books for your $37 million. So wherever you end up playing next year, you getting your $37 million, right? When KD requests that trade, what that's going to do is two things, right? Because the Brooklyn Nets is really only keeping Kyrie because of KD. So once KD's out of the picture, there's no need for Kyrie to be a Brooklyn Net. They don't want him. They've already proven they don't want him. They don't want Kyrie, right? So if you don't want him, go ahead and give him to somebody who do. KD requests a trade, you get whatever you get for KD, and then now you got to trade Kyrie. Or if you don't want to trade Kyrie, make a deal with him as a buyout. You ain't got to give him the whole $37 million. You'll probably give him $27 million as a buyout. And then Kyrie can go and sign with the Lakers for the $6 million that they had room for. And man, he ended up getting the same money anyway, right? Buy me out, and then let me sign with the Lakers for $6 million, right? So what well, this is so genius, man. So what I think they could do, right? And I went on the ESPN trade machine, and if they want to work a deal that's going to allow them to get Kevin Durant, and to make the money work. Now, I'm not saying this is a fair trade as far as the players, but to make the money work, they getting rid of Westbrook. If they're trying to keep AD, right? If they're trying to keep AD, there's pretty much Kevin Durant, and for Westbrook, Taylor Horton-Tucker, Kendrick Nunn, and 2 first-round draft picks in the future, right? That's if the Nets are desperate and they get, they just get bullied in this trade. But if they want to get a superstar back, right, then I could see them Westbrook and Anthony Davis straight up for Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And of course, there'll probably be some draft picks involved to sweeten the deal. But I like that, because you get rid of Westbrook, who they don't want and who don't fit with LeBron James. You are getting rid of a defender, rim protector, great power forward, great scorer, and another star, and getting Kevin Durant and Kyrie. but I think that fits if the Lakers throw in their draft picks, right? So either they can do a two for two with draft picks straight up, or if the Lakers get really lucky and bully the Nets, right? If they really send them over there and don't get AD back, but they get young players like Kendrick Nunn, Horton Tucker, then they get Westbrook, who is a dependable player, which is what Sean Mark said he wanted. He said, we want players that want to be here and who's going to play. That's what he said. That's what Westbrook is. He plays. So if that's what you want, that's what you got right there. Westbrook, give him the $47 million. You didn't want to give it to Kyrie because he missed time for the vax last year. Well, Westbrook's vaxxed, and he barely missed games. So there you go. Go ahead and give up Kevin Durant, buy out Kyrie Irving, and let Kyrie Irving walk over to LA and sign for $6 million. Right? Figure out a way to get Kevin Durant gone. I know on his short list was Phoenix and Miami, but Phoenix, the only thing they can give him is DeAndre Ayton. Right? The only thing they can give them with Phoenix is DeAndre Ayton. I don't know if Brooklyn would rather have Ayton teamed up with Ben Simmons or AD teamed up with Ben Simmons. The way AD doesn't like to play the center position or play down low, it might be better for them to have Ayton teaming up with him. Right? somebody said, man, this is look, this is what it's coming down to, man. This is what happens when you playing hardball as a front office turns into you also being disrespectful and unappreciative of star players. Like, what other team is doing that? Like, what other team is doing that? Beyond, like, as far as players that didn't get vaxxed, let's just keep it the recent history. The latest thing that bothered the Nets about Kyrie Irving was him not getting vaxxed last year. I don't even think that's even legit to be bothered about. They started messing up this franchise from the time they didn't support their player. They got a star player that said, listen, man, I'm ready to play, but I'm not getting that vax. Right? You can feel whatever type of way you want as a GM and as an owner. But the best thing you could have done was been supportive. The worst thing you could have done was say, well, if you can't play all the games, if you can't play home games, then you can't play away games. We're going to suspend you. And then during that suspension, you're not going to get your game check. We're only paying you half. We're not going to take your game check for the games, the home games, because you're not playing home games because New York put a mandate out, right? So you're missing the games because New York. But the games that we're suspended, so they basically suspended him for not getting a vax. That's got to be some type of violation as far as, I mean, like what worker is supposed to be able to get suspended for not getting a vax? So what they thought was going to happen was that Kyrie Irving was going to be like, oh man, I'm suspended. Let me go get the vax. Let me go. Like, it ain't like he's not getting the vax because he's scared of needles. He's not getting the vax because as a religious person, and I know the first thing that happens because being in the military, it's the same thing that happens with us, right? You say something like, hey, look, man, I'm not getting X, Y, and Z. It's against my religion. The first thing that happened is they go grab some other person that share your same faith that actually did it and be like, then he or she did it, then why you can't do it? Right? And that's what people did with Kyrie when he said, man, I'm trying to get religious exemption for this. And they're looking at him like, oh, what's your religion? Oh, I know Muslims that did it. Yeah, I know Muslims that eat pig feet too. That don't mean I'm gonna go eat pig feet. right? I know Christians that do all types of sorts of things. You know what I mean, I'm gonna do it, and I just don't understand that where people look at a guy and be like, "Oh, you're not getting the vax because of your religion. Oh, you're not a team player." What? That like make some sense of that for me. So, as a team in the organization, the first mistake you made, oh, we're gonna suspend you because you're not getting the vax, and they actually thought that he was gonna change his mind. Then when he didn't change his mind, that's when they started docking his pay. And when they docked his pay, he still didn't change his mind. And then the Nets was playing. James Harden was on one leg, couldn't give you much. And Kevin Durant was doing all he can. I mean, it was some games early on that they wouldn't have won if it wasn't for people like Patty Mills just shooting lights out. Hold on. Is that breaking news? KD went to Portland just now? Let me check that. Is that breaking news? Oh no, but you will. Okay, I'm about to say, boy, don't be. That would have been crazy, man. I mean, that'd be good. That'd be good though. I mean, you get over there with. I always wanted Jeremy Grant to come to the Nets to play with Kevin Durant because I always felt versatile, tall, athletic wing. Like last year when they a year before last when they had Jeff Green. Man, he was perfect for them. Jeff Green was perfect for them. That team that they had last year with Kyrie, Jeff Green, KD, and Harden and Harris, that team was great. I like that squad. Jeff Green made that team kind of pop because he can play 3, 4, and 5, and he can play 3, 4, and 5 on offense, and he can guard 3, 4, and 5. People don't remember Jeff Green at Georgetown didn't have a lot of. Well, I'm not gonna say he didn't have it, but he didn't display a lot of perimeter skills. He played 4 and 5 in Georgetown in the post, kind of the same thing Carmelo and Mike Beasley did when they was in college. Played in the post and killed. I was a Tar Heel fan back then. I remember them putting them out of the tournament. Jeff Green was phenomenal, right? Jeff Green's a baller. But him, they need a player like that, right? And when they lost Jeff Green, the first thing I said is that's gonna be a problem. Them losing Jeff Green is a problem. So I always wanted Jeremy Grant to somehow make it to Brooklyn, or Jeff Green to come back, but Jeremy Grant is a younger version of him, and probably a better shooter, probably even a better defender. But you know, he's in Portland now. So if KD end up in Portland, you got Dame, KD, Jeremy Grant. That's a good 3 to have. Who knows? Maybe they have room for Kyrie too. That wouldn't be bad, but yeah, Nurk. I don't know if Nurk will resign there though. But so where was I at? So LeBron James is a genius. I think the Lakers gonna pull it off, and they gonna get everything they want. They gonna get rid of that $47 million, that bad contract with Westbrook, and Westbrook getting off their books and getting off their roster. The Nets get what they want. They get a player that that they said they was asking for, a player that's going to be there. I guess reliable. There you go. You got Westbrook, right? Kyrie is poison. Explain to me how Kyrie is poison. Because last I checked, he didn't put the poison in his body. So everybody else is poison. KD don't have. Kyrie don't have the poison in his body. Do you? So how's he poison? And that's always the fascinating question. And as a matter of fact, 336-456-6453 right there on the bottom of your screen in the corner. Call that number and explain to me how he poison. And I guarantee If you explain to me how he's poisoned, it makes sense. I cash app you. Right? If it makes sense. If it makes sense, call in. Tell me how it makes sense. Because I probably can tell you what you're gonna say. Right? And I don't even know who you are. Let me see if I can find out. You should be watching me on YouTube. Let me see if I can see who you is. It'll be interesting. Oh, Rodriguez, what's up, man? Yeah. Explain to me how KD is Kyrie is poison. Because he didn't take the vax. All right, so let's just take Cleveland, right? He shows up as a rookie, number 1 pick, right? And immediately started balling out. He averaging over 20 points as a rookie. Guess who didn't average over 20 points as a rookie? Steph Curry didn't. Right? Kyrie's second year, he was an all-star. Guess who wasn't an all-star his second year? Steph wasn't. Right? Then his third year, LeBron shows up. They immediately go to the finals. Mind you, while his first 3-4 years in the league, nobody had nothing bad to say about Kyrie. No one said he was poisoned. No one said he didn't show up. No one said he was unreliable. No one said none of those things. All he did was ball out and make all-stars, right? And put on shows and make it to the finals with LeBron. Lose the first time, come back because he got hurt and Kevin Love got hurt. Come back the second time, they all healthy. They beat these boys. And Kyrie hits the game winner. All right. So let me read this. He ain't got the poison, so he can't play. That's false because the mandate is lifted. All right. So that's the first thing. Teams want someone who's going to play, not someone that's going to play half the games. That's also false. What do you mean half the games? What does half the games mean? Did he play half the games in Cleveland? Did he play half the games in Boston? And the games he missed in Brooklyn was because he was suspended. Right? And now that's not even an issue because the vaccine the mandate is lifted. So what else? Also, when he do play, he not performing like we know he can. That makes no sense. We got to stop comparing this man to Steph as well because he ain't touching Steph level. Okay, I'm not gonna argue with you. That Steph have accomplished a lot as the number 1 option on the team. Right? He won a ring as a number 1. He made it to another finals as a number 1. And then he won his second ring this year as a number 1. So yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you there. I never said Kyrie was better than Steph. But guess what? If you take everybody at this position, point guard, and you put Steph number 1, number 2 is Kyrie. So as far as talent and ability, they are on the same level. The only difference is Steph has been a number 1 his whole career except the 3 years that KD was there. Right? So he's been able to prove more. Right? LeBron James took that number 1 status away from Kyrie because before Kyrie was able to have a team built around him, LeBron came back. And then he found himself as a Robin. Right? So, but yeah, so all your points are really not hitting. Because you started out by saying he can't play because he ain't got that poison, but he can play. The mandate is lifted. Then you talking about this half the game stuff. Like, this dude been in the league 11 years. You can't give him a title for something he did for 1 year that deals with a vaccine that he's not taking because of his religion. Right? how you go hold that man hold the fire to his feet for that? Out of 11 years, you got 1 year that he didn't take a vax and he missed a bunch of games. Anything else had something to do with an injury, and then one time he took a week off for personal reasons, which is not unique to just Kyrie. This is something that a lot of superstars do, including LeBron James. Even coaches do it. Steve Kerr did it. Ty Lue did it. Ty Lue went on a 2-week sabbatical for anxiety. Right? Steve Kerr took time off for rest. Well, he had surgery, I think hip surgery or something like that, but he rested out there. Bill Walton had to coach the Warriors for weeks. Players, so that week. Now I will say this: the issue with Kyrie Irving when he took that week off is that somehow Steve Nash told the media that he didn't know why he took the time off. Right? That's something Steve Nash should have never said in public media, because they ran with it. Right? I don't know who Kyrie Irving got permission from or who he informed that he was taking that time off, but for some reason they approved it and didn't tell Steve Nash. So when they asked Steve Nash in the public, when is Kyrie coming back? Do you know what's going on? He was like, I didn't even know he was leaving. Right? Why say that? That's a weak-minded dude, man. You're supposed to hold everything in the locker room. I don't remember now one time Phil Jackson coming out and telling them and giving the media ammo to tear that team apart. As much stuff that Rodman was doing on that Bulls squad, we didn't hear about it until The Last Dance came out 2 years ago. This stuff went down in 1995, 96, right? It's more than 30 years later. And we just now finding out that this dude left and went to Vegas and almost missed a game. Jordan had to fly out there and get him out of the hotel room in Vegas. Rodman once kicked a cameraman in his balls during a game. Rodman headbutted a referee. Rodman wore a wedding gown to marry himself. Rodman left during the playoffs to go wrestle Hulk Hogan in the WWE. So the type of distraction that Rodman was a lot. But you never seen Phil Jackson going against Dennis Rodman. We don't know what type of talks Phil Jackson had to have, or what type of talks Michael Jordan had to have with Rodman behind the scenes. Why would you come out and volunteer ammo against your own player, which is going to tear your team apart? That was a rookie mistake by Steve Nash as a first-year coach or second-year coach. That was a rookie mistake. So, yeah, I do kind of fault Kyrie Irving for not being more informative in that time he needed off. But I'm not faulting him for taking the time off, because it's not unique to him. They all do it. Right? All right, CJ. He missed games with Brooklyn due to not having the vax, but you're right about it being lifted, so it could be different. But he ain't working well with another star, except for the fluke of playing with LeBron. I mean, let's be real. Without LeBron in Cleveland, he ain't winning. What does that even mean? What does that got to do with dependability? Who cares what he did without LeBron? Nobody cares. I mean, this sounds like the argument people make when they say, "Well, Jordan never run without Pippen." Who cares? Nobody cares about that, right? So, what we shouldn't do, right? And this is what a lot of people do. And it ain't y'all fault, because y'all learn how to do this from watching First Take and all this stuff, right? They'll come out and say all these things about Kyrie and use words like unreliable, and all these things. And when you ask them, how is he unreliable? They start using examples that don't even match being unreliable. What does playing with LeBron got to do with him being unreliable? I thought the issue was him being unreliable. Is Brooklyn not giving him the max because he's unreliable? Are they not giving him the max because they're mad at him for a failed season last year because he didn't get the vax? Or they're not giving him the max because he never won without LeBron? Like, we got to stay on topic when we having this conversation. Why is Brooklyn not giving Kyrie the max? And when you say because he's unreliable, and then we break it down and we find out that's not true, then what? Then you start bringing up all this other stuff. I mean, it's not even worth having a conversation about what he did with LeBron or without LeBron. Can LeBron play? Can Kyrie Irving play ball? Heck yeah. End of story. Is he the second, third, or maybe even at the very least fourth best point guard in the league? Yeah. Is he a top 10 player in the league? Yeah. Right? Let's say he goes somewhere like Utah. If they get rid of Mitchell, you think they're going to be able to build around him? Who, Kyrie going to Utah? Would they be able to build around Kyrie in Utah? I don't know the answer to that. So my philosophy on building around a small guy my philosophy is don't do it. Because if you think about small guys that had a team built around them and they were successful, I think about Isaiah with Detroit. He got 2 rings, right? A small guy who had a team built around him. I think about Iverson in Philly. They reached the finals, but they didn't get a ring. I think about Steph in Golden State. He got 4 rings out of the deal. Well, I say 2 because, I mean, we got to be honest. KD was the man on those 2 in 17 and 18. Or was it 16 and 17? One of them, 17 and 18, right? But you got a small amount of, you got a small amount of people they tried to build around Chris Paul a little bit in New Orleans. But they tried to build around Steve Nash in Phoenix. Building around, and they're trying to build around Trae Young right now in Atlanta. They tried to build around Damon Stoudemire in Toronto. It doesn't work. They tried to build around Isaiah Thomas in Boston. You have to be a special player to have a team built around you as a small guy. Can Kyrie do it? Yes. I think he could be on a team built around him and be competitive and be in the playoff, because let's be honest, he showed up to Boston. Jaylen Brown was a second-year player who showed glimpses as a rookie, but not enough for us to think that he was gonna be where he's at now. Jason Tatum was a rookie coming out of Duke at age 19, 18 maybe, right? We didn't know what he was gonna do. Marcus Smart was a player that been in 3 years, and I only think he was a starter when Kyrie got there, right? He was playing behind Isaiah Thomas, right? So you had a very young squad that just traded for Kyrie and picked up Gordon Hayward in free agency. Kyrie comes out there, loses Gordon Hayward in the first game to like a crazy, gruesome broken leg. They win that game, and then they go on to have the best record in the league. I want to say the first 35 to 40 games that season. They was like number 1 and number 2 in the league, definitely number 1 in the East, almost up until All-Star break. And Kyrie Irving was in the MVP discussions with a rookie Tatum and a second-year Brown. And the guy who was supposed to be his number 2, Gordon Hayward, played 10 minutes and his season was over, right? So that team was rocking and rolling with Kyrie. They was playing great defense, playing great offense. Kyrie was playing phenomenal. And then the knee injury that he had in Cleveland, that he told them, look, my knee needs to be cleaned up, but I will play on it, but only if you trade me. If you don't trade me, I'm going to go ahead and get the surgery, and I'm going to be out for the season anyway. So Cleveland went on and traded him because they knew his knee was banged up. So he tried to play on that knee, and once it got halfway through the season, he realized, I really need to go get this surgery. So they shut him down. He got the surgery. He's on for the season. And then here's the emergence of Smart, Rozier, Brown, and Tatum. They emerge. So having a team built around Kyrie, I seen what it would look like. Unfortunately for Boston and for Kyrie, having a rookie Tatum, a second-year Brown, a fourth-year Smart, and a third-year Rozier all of a sudden emerge and make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and realize, dang, we can play in this league. Because before that, none of those guys was on nobody's radar to do nothing. They emerged. And when Kyrie came back, everyone knew Kyrie was the best player on the team. He comes back, he takes his rightful spot as the number one on the team. But the issue came in with when Gordon Hayward also came back the next season off that broken leg, and he still wasn't 100% right. But since his coach from college was his coach now with Boston, he gave him a little bit of favoritism. Was like, hey, throw Gordon Hayward in the starting lineup. He's the vet, and he's my former player from Butler, and we're gonna put Brown on and Tatum on the bench. So Rozier goes to the bench. We don't know what to do with Smart because Rozier, Smart, and Kyrie all three play point guard, and Tatum, Brown, and Gordon Hayward all three play small forward. So it was a cluster, right? And the way Tatum described it is they wanted more than what they was ready for, and we got a taste of it last year when they both was hurt. And that's why Kyrie Irving said, I had to call LeBron and let him know I apologize, because what I was doing when I was under you in Cleveland was wanting it, because I was like, I got the talent, I want it bad, right? But Kyrie was the obvious number two. What was going on in Boston was Tatum, Brown, Smart, and Rozier all wanted to be the number two. They was all fighting for it. It wasn't an issue with Kyrie Irving. It was an issue with the Young Bucks wanting to be the number two. They knew who the number one was. The Young Bucks it was 4 or 5 people fighting to be number two, and then you had Gordon Hayward there as well. So that was what the issue was. The issue was with Gordon Hayward, not Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving caught the flack for that. So once the noise started around in the media about, hey, the team is not playing well, and they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, they're not playing well this year with Kyrie. It wasn't Kyrie. It was Gordon Hayward. Why was he in the starting lineup? And he was he was limping coming off that leg injury. He was not ready. He was nervous. He couldn't guard a phone booth. And here you got Tatum and Brown on the bench. So that was the issue. But Kyrie caught all the flack for it. So everyone was saying, hey, look, man, Boston played better without Kyrie. Boston played better without Kyrie. And it got to the point where Kyrie was like, well, look, man. That's why he had to make that speech. Look, I'll be here if y'all would have me. That's what he said. He said, I'll be here if y'all would have me. Because he knew the Boston fans had turned on him and was like, man, we'd rather have the Young Bucks. We played better without you. That's what everybody was saying. So when his contract was over and he was a free agent, he was like, man, I don't think Boston want me here. And it ain't gonna work. Because Gordon Hayward was still there. So he left. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I think a team can build around Kyrie. Is it going to be a championship team? Probably not. It takes a special squad and special players around a small guy for it to be a championship team. It's very hard. Only averaging 23 in his career, and half of them with another superstar. Now explain why he can't win with another star on his team. What are you talking about? Kyrie Irving averaged more than freaking Scottie Pippen over his season. Like, come on, man. 23 is more than what Kawhi averaged over his career. Dude, what do y'all be talking about, man? I don't know what y'all be talking about. What's wrong with 23 points as a second star? How much is a number two supposed to average? I mean, he averaged 25 last year before last. If he wanted to average 25, 27, he can. What's wrong with 23 as a number two? How many points does a number two supposed to get? All right, let's run that. Let's run that. Let's take that and apply it across the board. Let's go to all the contenders and their number twos. Clay was the number two for Golden State. How much does he average? Harden is the number two for Philly. How much did he average? Who was the number two for Miami? Bam Adebayo. How much did he average? Jaylen Brown is the number two for Boston. How much did he average? Come on, man. Don't make this a clown show. Bruh, you can't force points as a number two. If you're the number two, you're the number two. Bruh, I'm not even messing with that. There are more unsuccessful attempts in building around a small guy, is what you're saying. Therefore, I don't think it could happen with him. That's fair. I mean, that's fair. I mean, it's just not easy. Can they build around him and be a contender? Yes. They can. They can build around him and be a contender. I mean, Dame had he had his team in the playoffs almost every year. It can be done. I would rather my number one be somebody like KD, somebody like LeBron. You know, that I'd rather that be my number one, because when I need a shot right now, he's a mismatch and can get it over 99% of the NBA. Kyrie is somewhat of a mismatch by how talented he is, but as far as size, if it's the playoffs and you're going to allow me to be very, very physical, it's not going to be very easy for you to get your shot. I want my number one to be able to get a bucket at any time, right? So I just wouldn't do it unless I had to. If I had to, I wouldn't mind. I'd like to have Kyrie. But just for me, I'm not a big fan of my number one being a small guy. What are your thoughts on Kyrie trying to make his way back to LeBron? My thoughts is that he wouldn't be trying to do that if Brooklyn would have committed to him and treated him like, because remember, this dude said, there's no way I'm gonna leave 7, meaning Kevin Durant. I'm not leaving Kevin Durant, and I want to be in Brooklyn. He said that before the season was over. When the season was over, letting everyone know, I want to resign. I want to be here for the max. So it's not like Kyrie Irving was like, man, I can't win in Brooklyn. Let me go back to Bron. Nah, that's not what happened. What happened is he used the Lakers and LeBron as leverage in order for him to get the max contract that he wanted in Brooklyn so he can stay with KD. But in that process of doing all of that, Brooklyn, Joe Tsai, Steve Nash, and Sean Marks got so disrespectful that they was like, you know what? How can I work for a organization that is that disrespectful to me? And then Kevin Durant was like, yeah, I agree. They've been disrespectful to me too, as well. And it's weird that some people think that organizations don't owe respect to players, but it's vice versa. The players owe respect to the organizations, and they even think the players owe respect to fans. Like people are saying when Kevin Durant requested a trade and said he wanted to go to Phoenix or Miami, the fans was like, why you want to go to a team that had the best record in the league? What you want him to do? You want a 34-year-old to go and find the worst team in the league and say, let me for why? Because it's going to satisfy the fans so they can have a story. Oh, Kevin Durant took the worst team in the league and built them into a contender, and he made the playoffs at age 37. Like, who wants to be in a rebuild situation? Nobody required Tom Brady to go to a team that was trash when he left New England. And why did Tom Brady leave New England? Because New England didn't think he could play no more. New England upset him when they drafted Garoppolo, his replacement, to the point where he was so pissed off that they had to trade Garoppolo to fix the situation. And they did it. Aaron Rodgers got pissed off when they drafted his replacement in Love. He said, I'm not going to play this season. Y'all disrespected me. And he said, the only way I come back is if you fire the GM. Right? Do you think if the Packers would have traded Aaron Rodgers that he was going to go to the worst team in the league? I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had stud receivers and a stud defense already. And then Tom Brady showed up on a team with Jameis Winston that threw 30 interceptions, but also almost had a winning record. I think that was 8-8, or was it 9-7? All it was missing was a quarterback. I'm the final piece of the puzzle. Only thing he bought with him was Grump. They went and got some veteran running backs, Leonard Fournette, and then AB signed. And do you think someone at the age of Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady is going to come out and say, I'm leaving my squad, send me to the worst team in the league? But that's what people expecting Kevin Durant to do. I'm going to leave Brooklyn, and the teams y'all want you to send me to is the worst team in the league, not because it makes sense, but because I want the fans to like me. Y'all, come on, man. Y'all silly with this, man. It don't make sense, man. It don't make sense. But Sean Marks fumbled the bag royally, and I'm all about solutions. Just like I just talked about with Aaron Rodgers, he was pissed off with Green Bay. It looked bad as well. I don't think he came to training camp right away. You know, everybody thought, man, hey, is he gonna get traded? Whatever. But he came back and it ended up turning. He got an MVP. They made another playoff run, right? So it worked out, and then he got a big contract this summer. So I think there is light. Well, I'm not gonna say it's light at the end of the summer. I think there is a possibility to fix this. However, you got to go to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is you disrespected these guys. So how do you fix that? All right. Well, let's go to the people who disrespected them. Sean Marks, because the owner, he was in on it because he supported them. But if I'm the owner, I'm looking at, I just bought this team and I got inherited and landed in my lap two of the best players in the league. Immediately my ticket sales went up. Immediately I was a contender. Vegas had us either first or second best odds to win the championship, right? Then I got a third star in James Harden. We rocking and rolling. We selling tickets. We selling jerseys. We got TV. We got like most of our games on TV. With the talk of the town, everybody talking about us, right? I'm making a lot of money. This is a good deal. However, we got swept in the first round, and my second best player didn't get vaxxed, so he missed half the season because we suspended him, right? You look at all this stuff and you think about the revenue you got this year, or the last 2 years, or the last 3 years, how long you had Kyrie and Kevin Durant, right? You look at that and you say, I made some money. I did good as a businessman, right? If at the very least, I'm going to keep paying the people that is putting butts in seats, who is selling jerseys, who's getting my franchise on TV consistently. I'm going to pay those. I'm going to give them a piece of the pie because I appreciate that you're doing that. But I am going to have a talk with you and say, look, I do also want to win a championship because I think we got a chance and we got a window of opportunity here. I need you locked in. Kyrie, I know you're not going to get the vax. That's cool. I support you in that. But I need you locked in like you ain't never locked in before, or locked in the way you were in Cleveland. Let's go get this ring. Let's stay healthy. Let's get Ben Simmons on board. Let's work this free agency and see what we can build around y'all. And let's give it a shot, man. We got Kyrie locked up for 4 years and KD locked up for 4 years and Ben Simmons locked up for 4 years. Let's see what we can do in 4 years. At the end of the 4 years, KD, you be 38. Let's get a ring or two. Right? And if Kyrie on that BS next year and he start missing games because he wanna go do a family thing and all that stuff. Hey, look, at that point, all right, man, cool. At the 4 years, it's a wrap because at that point, Kyrie will be 34. KD will be 38. We just let Kyrie walk. You get what I'm saying? But while KD is in this still in his prime and still playing good basketball, I know he's a package deal with Kyrie. Just like Jordan was a package deal with Pippen. Jordan didn't want to play without Pippen. He said, man, if you trade Pippen, they tried to trade Pippen for T-Mac. Jordan stopped it. They wanted to fire Phil. Jordan stopped it. Right? And then when he found out they was going to fire Phil after the 96 season and let Scottie Pippen go, Michael Jordan retired. I already told you, I don't care who else, whatever pieces you move around, Pippen and Phil stays if you want me. The ownership didn't want to deal with it, so Michael Jordan retired. At least KD didn't retire. Think about it this way. KD's 34, he'll be 35 next year. Jordan retired at 35. He had 3 more years. He was still the best player in the league at 35 and won a championship and an MVP at 35 and a defensive player of the year and played 82 games. He was the best player in the league at 35. That's the same thing that KD is right now, 34 years old. They better be lucky KD just didn't retire. Right? But Michael Jordan was a package deal with Pippen, and he cut his career short at 35 and left because they wouldn't let them run it back. How you win a championship and not bring your squad back? That makes no sense. You win the championship and you so unappreciative that you go let the best player in the history of the game retire because you don't want to bring back a great coach who went on to the Lakers to three-peat and then went back to the Lakers again and two-peated or repeated, showing you his greatness. You could have had that with the Bulls, but you chose Jerry Krause. You chose Jerry Krause over the GOAT player, the GOAT coach, and the GOAT number 2. Scottie Pippen is the best number 2 we ever seen, or Robin, if you want to call him. The GOAT Robin, the GOAT player, the GOAT coach. You chose Jerry Krause over all of them. And that's what Brooklyn Nets is doing right now. They chose Steve Nash, a rookie coach, and Sean Marks, an unproven front office GM, over Kevin Durant, arguably the best player in the league, and Kyrie Irving, a top 3 at the very least, top 3 point guard in the league. You chose Steve Nash and Sean Marks over him as an owner. It don't even make sense. It don't make sense at all. But man, that's just my thoughts, man. We'll see what happens, man. I go live again once we find out where Kevin Durant's going. It might be the Lakers. And if it's the Lakers, good luck, Brooklyn, because you ain't about to get return on investment with the draft picks you traded Harden for and then you gave up for Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons only worked if you got Kevin Durant and somebody like Kyrie who are proven scorers. Because Ben Simmons ain't gonna be your number one scorer. That's gonna get you to a championship. But they had a championship squad and they fumbled the bag because they wanted to play hardball and listen to the media on what leverage they thought they had. But Kyrie Irving had all the leverage because he had Kevin Durant. But all right, man, I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.